leads are bad, the leads aren't interested, the leads are slow, the leads aren't serious. That's actually probably the number one. Andres, would you agree? The number one feedback for them not closing is the leads aren't serious.
Yes, I hear that quite often, too
Okay.
often, and in the process, checking in with the leads, turns out they close with another agent, and
So
it's sad to say, but we find that quite often.
yeah, I find it way too often. Um, so because I was receiving this feedback, I was taking it personal. I was like, okay, like this is my baby, like this is my business. This is you know, you're telling me that the work we put in is not actually fruitful, and for better or for worse, I take that very personal. And and at first, my ego got involved, and my ego is definitely bruised, and I most certainly probably ticked off a few agents in calling them out. And later, I got good at tactfully fixing the problem. And now, was it the leads? In some cases, it most certainly was the leads, and that's why we investigated in the first place to find out how are the conversations going. Now, one of my agents, and you guys have all met him or have heard of him, Josh Wheelock. I use this example all the time, and it's only because he's given me his express permission that I can use his name all the time in this example. When he first started, month three, he's telling us that the leads are weak, that they're not serious. Month four, same thing. Month five, same thing. And around that time, I got to the point where I'm investigating. I'm like, okay, let me listen to every single call that we've had. And after listening to several pre-approved buyers and a live call transfer that was a pre-approved buyer with someone who was selling their property, so it was a buy and a sell, it was a little double dip situation, and he fumbled the ball. And we listened to that call. And the reason why I picked that call was because he mentioned that the leads that he's talked to aren't serious. Now, at this point, he's only spent like $900. Now, for a lot of us, if we spend $900 and we don't see a return, I mean, we a lot of us will start sweating at like $300, who have never done this before. And so he's at this point, he spent around $900, hasn't seen any return. He's got a pipeline, but his feedback and what he's telling me, hey, the leads aren't serious. And so I pull up one of the most recent live call transfers. That was a buy and sell. And he listens to the call. And I didn't give him any coaching. All he had to do was just listen to himself talk. And ironically, in that call, he talked way too much. And in the call, he's literally like hands on his face like this, like Sean, I talk way too much. I'm not listening enough. And the funny thing is that Josh is a first year agent, but he's not a first year sales professional. He's been in the sales arena profession for the better part of 20 25 years. He comes from the car industry. He comes from the finance industry. So we're talking about a veteran in the space who knows it is important. He knows what's important to communicate his value. He knows what's important to communicate next steps. He knows what's important to maintain his pipeline. But he had no idea that he was doing something wrong until he listened to himself. And so, if you guys have a live call transfer, Harker, I see that you joined. If I could actually call on you real quick and ask you a quick personal question, if you're open to it. I see you went on mute. Could I ask you something, Harker? He might have stepped away. Um, so in by listening to himself, by watching the game tape, he was able to self-diagnose. And what I took away from this whole scenario, was you are your own worst critic. The person who knows you, who has the most context, who's with you day in and day out, is the worst critic. And so, in listening to yourself, have you guys ever like watched a video or a home video or something like where you're like, oh, like it makes you cringe just watching it? You're like, man, I dress like that, or oh man, I sound like that.
I was gonna
And it's like,
say, we if we record content for a particular house events, we are very judgmental into the content that we're creating, right? But oftentimes we don't sit down and do that with the conversations that we're having with some leads. But
mhm, yep. And I'm going to give you one more example. I was, in fact, Clay Brown is here in our office, and I was reviewing one of his calls, and he had a part in his conversation where uh, where he was making the ask, and then he decided to give them an easy way out, and he identified that on his own just because we were listening to the call. And by him doing that, now the next call that he has, he's going to be thinking in the back of his mind, I don't need to just immediately give him the easy way out, right? And so, all right, let's listen to this call. It's 11 minutes long. My plans today, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to give you guys a lot of tactical tips. And my promise every day, every call that we do this with the same time, same link, is that you guys are going to know more than you knew coming into today's call, and you're going to know how to apply it that same day in your business. Okay, so that's my promise and that's my guarantee every time that we do these calls. And if I don't hold up my end, I expect you guys to hold me accountable. All right, let's do this. By the way, Harkerton, are you back? I wanted to ask you a question if you're comfortable.
Uh, it was for me, Sean.
Yes. I had a quick question for you.
Sure.
What feedback do you have for me? Like how useful was it listening to yourself? Because I believe we did your call last Thursday or the Thursday before that. Um,
Right.
how was it listening to yourself? How was that for you?
I think it was great. It really kind of helps you get better and understand where you are really, right, in this process of discovery. And I really like the feature in the CRM too, where you can just go back to the recordings and see how it goes. And I love this Thursday call especially because uh, when it's good, it's obviously great. But if you're reviewing a call that hasn't gone that well, I think that's where it really adds value to everybody, just to learn like what could have been done better, how we could improve. So I think this is great.
Awesome, awesome. And if I could ask you one last thing, when listening to yourself, what was like the big aha or takeaway that you had in re-listening to your call?
Mm.
And thank you, by the way, for letting me put you on the spot.
Yeah, I had already listened to the call, to be honest, right before this Thursday call.
Right
That's
on.
what I do. So, but I just wanted to get everyone's feedback as well, and especially the tactics you told me. I think those were really helpful,
Awesome.
especially on in the end, how to end the call, setting up that appointment, giving those binary options, so that there's no confusion in the client's mind, right? And the closing is important. Sometimes I feel this is my weakness. I have a really great conversation, and in the end, the closing part when I have to book the appointment, sometimes I let it loose, and that's where I need to get better.
Hmm. Well, man, I see you, and when I reviewed your call, I noticed that you had been applying the best practices that we've been talking about. So, man, I'm just super pumped to see what your calls will look like in 6 months. It's gonna be like night and day.
I'm excited too. I just want to give an update on that listing, on that call, right? So that appointment. So that family is really going through stuff. They have a couple of kids who are uh, having special needs, and so they are not really responding, like in the sense that in the first day I had to go there. I had no confirmation. The call was after like a week since that call, and I still went. It was 1 hour away in another city, so I went there, and they were still like having their own family issues going on, right? But they then rebooked the meeting with me for the coming Monday, and again the same thing happens. Like I try to confirm the appointment, everything, but there's no response, and my family is saying like you're crazy. But I still went the next time on Monday on the same time, and I went through the listing presentation uh, with the husband, um, Thomas. So I had that presentation with him, and the other person was she was sick on that day. So now we have to go through another round of that presentation, but I'm happy that we have gone through that. So I'm just sharing this because it's not a kind of that always the people will respond and book the call, and they'll be really as interested as you are to have that business, right? And every scenario, every case would be different, but you have to just go and get it.
100%. Harkaran, thank you so much for sharing that. And brother, I got to say, most agents would have looked at that and said, it's an hour. They still haven't texted me back. I'm going to call them at the appointment instead of driving and spending my time. So I just wanted to say, because you do that, that's going to make it your 1%, a 1% an agent. Going that extra mile, taking and rounding up, not assuming the worst in the situation. You're seeing the opportunity in the situation. And I got to tell you, that mindset alone makes or breaks having these conversations with complete strangers. So thank you for sharing that. All right, let's dive in, guys. We got 14 minutes together. All right, let's do this.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, sir. Good morning. My name is Joe, real estate assistant to Lee Sauter. I saw your text that you're looking for some houses in Howard County. Is that right?
Yeah.
Great. We would love to send you some properties, but just wanted to ask you a quick question if possible.
Mhm.
All right. So I see here you're looking for 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Is this correct?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Aside from 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, are there any preferences like that?
I mean, like, if it's in a good, safe neighborhood that has a parking garage, in the school should be, you know, it's not the best, I think it's the average. If it has a backyard, that would be good. Is it like their only houses, right? Nothing else?
Got it. And you're looking for single family home, right?
Yeah, I mean, if there's if it's expensive or, it's not within my price range, I don't mind a good townhouse, but let's start with the single family houses first, and then if it's not within my range, we can focus on something else.
All right. What's the price range you're looking for?
In the 450 or something like that.
Okay. Are you planning to pay cash or have you been pre-approved?
I have a pre-approval, but I might have to add a little bit of money, or I don't know. But yeah.
Okay. And are you planning to buy within the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah.
All right. Just to make sure we're not stepping on anyone's toes, are currently working with other agents right now? Do you have any realtor on the work with?
Hold on a second. Are you not a realtor? What's your position? You own the sell house?
I am working as an assistant to a realtor named Liz Sauter. She's the local realtor in the area.
Okay, so I don't have a realtor per se, but I was comfortable with them when I was searching for houses.
Okay.
Specifically.
Got it. Well, since you're trying to explore your options, Mr. Daniel, it would be best that you could speak first with my agent Liz, so she could better discuss to you what are your options for buying a home. Is it possible for her to speak to you right now? All right, hold on a second, please. Thank you.
Which, by the way, guys, a couple points of feedback for us. Number one, and this feedback will get relayed to the rest of the team. If someone mentions that they're pre-approved, we're automatically going to assume that their timeline is now. That's pretty straightforward. So that's feedback for us. And also, one other thing I want to point out for some of you guys might review that and think, well, that doesn't sound very personal. That doesn't sound very, like like in depth, like a ton of rapport built, and I would absolutely agree with you. And our guys are actually intentionally trained to get the information that we need and as quickly as possible make that transfer, pending that it's not a crazy or a Mickey Mouse or a Peter Pan type lead or an FU type lead. Um, Simply because we want you to be the person to humanize the rapport and have that in-depth conversation. And I say this with humility. We have had in the past where we would go in depth in our conversations before making the transfer. And I'm talking like very deep in our conversations. And the buyer or seller would say, I didn't really like your agent. Can I just work with you? I'm like, no, that's not how it works. And so we don't want to outshine. Not to say that we would, but we don't want to outshine. We want as quickly as possible you to connect.
How are you? How you doing?
Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for waiting. I got your list on the line, and she will take over this. What is your rating? Back to you.
Hi, Danielle. This is Elizabeth. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Liz? How you doing?
I'm doing good. So you're looking to move in the next like 3 to 6 months, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Any other information? Howard County, I assume, correct?
Yeah, that's my preference. But I do have some concerns. I was also looking for townhouses, but the HOA payments have been a little bit higher. So I'm just like checking my options with single family house since there wouldn't be an HOA into that. And so.
Great, yeah.
Hey Jesse, may I call on you? I know you're on mute. May I call on you? All right, no worries.
HOA can be.
Just for the HOA.
So I want to re-listen to that intro.
Any other information? How are you?
Hey, how?
Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for waiting. I got your list on the line, and she will take over this. What is your rating? Back to you.
Hi, Danielle. This is Elizabeth. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Liz? How you doing?
I'm doing good. So you're looking to move in the next like 3 to 6 months, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Any other information? Howard County, I assume, correct?
Okay. Without my input, how might you guys have framed that intro? And I'm looking for a little bit of feedback from you guys, like what you guys personally think.
I think I would have had a little more personal back and forth before I jumped right into that. I think I might have said you're looking to move in the next 3 to 6 months. Is that right? And if he said yes, and then I'd be like, I think I'd start talking about more personal things than the parameters.
Okay. Very good. I totally agree. Like what? Give me an example.
I might start with, maybe how did you find me? I don't know, something like that, and then I'd ask about like family, like different things like that. Oh yeah, do you guys work? Like, have you lived in the area for a long time? Stuff like that, just to get to know them, and those will answer a lot of questions without me having to ask directly.
Yep, 100%. And Carrie, have you been a part of the mastermind where we went over ninja selling, Larry Kendall, the Renegades?
Yep.
Yes. So you know the Ford method, the family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. This is one of the easiest ways to qualify someone is not by interrogating them, but figuring out what their family situation, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Finding out what about what they do, about their family. What about this one, guys? What about, okay, so you're looking to move in the next 36 months. Have you seen anything that you like yet? What about that one? So.
Yeah, that's.
I'm doing good. So you're looking to move in the next like 3 to 6 months, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Is there anything that that you've seen that you like so far?
Any other information? Howard County, I assume, correct?
A little cold. You guys, did you guys feel that? A little cold, right? A little cold.
Yeah, that's my preference. but I do have some concern. I was also looking for townhouses, but the HOA payments have been a little bit higher. So I'm just accepting my options with single family house since there wouldn't be an HOA concern.
Great, yeah, HOAs can be a little challenging overall. And then I was also informed that you are already pre-approved, is that correct?
Yes, but it might not be enough for a single family house, but I do have an approval.
Okay, great. And did you go with your local bank or someone else that you know and trust?
It's not a local bank, but it's a financial company called Obtain Lender.
Okay. And then would you be a first-time home buyer in the state of Maryland?
Yes.
Okay. So far, how do you guys feel about this conversation?
If it was me on the other end, I would like it to be warmer. Warmer in personality and in tone.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's asking. One way I would approach it is, yeah, aside from HOA, what's important for you and the family, and then diving into the format that they're, um, you know, what's important for the wife, the family, how many kids, um, property wise, like you said, you've seen anything you like. He mentioned doesn't want an HOA, any single family homes, particular style that he likes. Just diving into more what he wants, uh, and getting to know him, building that rapport on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout that conversation, those all the details will come out.
When I'm listening to him, I feel like he's unsure. Like he's unsure of his ability, and it makes me feel like, well, I'm just gonna ask for, maybe I would just ask for more parameters, but I'd really prefer to see him in person because I think that we'll each get a better read. Like maybe, I mean, I'm reading a lot into it probably, but he just seems unsure about his ability or capability, and I want to be able to assure him and be able to give him certain things. So I might want to meet with him instead of having a long conversation with him. That's just me. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's right. That's just me.
So and by the way, guys, that's I appreciate you guys' feedback, and this is a safe environment. We're not here to rip anyone to shreds. We're not here to tear anyone down and build it back up. We're here to get better, right? If I got something stuck in my teeth, or if I got a booger hanging out of my nose, I want someone to tell me, and before I talk to the next 20 people, right? Uh, in other words, in translation, if I'm saying the wrong thing, metaphorically, I have a booger hanging out of my nose. I want people to tell me, and so I heard warm is missing, so cold. I heard um, family
Make it
and
personal.
digging two or three layers deeper. You know, he mentioned, and by the way, we don't know what the rest of the call is going to be like yet. We're going to go over today for sure because this so far there's already so much to unpack here.
Okay, great. And then as far as the home is concerned, did you want it to be completely renovated? Did you have any preferences as far as bedroom, bath, school districts, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it to your assistant. I want the area to be safer, like have a garage.
By the way, you notice how I already mentioned this to your assistant. Because it's cold, you have zero grace. Because it's cold, you have zero grace in in uh, in asking your questions. Is what I mean. Um, if it's cold, when you ask a question and it might be kind of hard, you can sense he's a little frustrated.
I've been there has been like car tests where I lived in apartments around like Guilford, Hampton Beach, for apartments.
So far, this is an interrogation. This isn't a. This is not a.
You said it before I did, Sean. That's what I heard. Right through the list just said with their ears on and listening and repeating interrogation style. That's what I heard.
100%. Guys, Liz is a great agent. I want to speak to her because she's not here. Liz is a great agent. If you guys look up her production, she is crushing it. this is a trap that a lot of agents fall into when they've had success. This is a big trap that agents fall into is they believe because they are very busy, they need to interrogate to avoid wasting time. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Because agents believe that they are too busy to spend time, build rapport, they need to interrogate so they don't waste their time. And I just, as someone who's been doing this for the last 10 years, spent millions on Google, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and generated hundreds of thousands for, at this point, millions for other real estate agents, I can tell you that is the quickest way to lose someone's business. Because what you don't want to do is interrogate a qualified buyer. Because it just pisses them off.
The worst thing you can do on a first impression right there, my opinion, but that's the worst thing you can do.
Who agrees that you can ask all of those questions that she asked, but in a much more tactful way?
So, yeah, of
100%.
course. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Carrie.
I was just gonna say, is there, because a lot of people are busy and they're taking that call because they know they need to take it. Is that call gonna go to my voicemail? Is that call never coming back to me? Is that, because right? What if you're at lunch with somebody and you're just like, oh, I'll call back. What do we do as agents in that moment so that we can be better at picking up that phone? Because if I'm just going to lose it, I'm going to pick it up, but I don't want to lose it, but I also don't want to sound short and I'm too busy for you either.
Yep.
That's the dilemma, and I'm not sure how to solve
Yep.
that.
Here's what you do, guys. If you're in a crunch and you feel compelled to figure out if this is if we're doing this or not, here's the framework. You have AAA and ACA. We talked about this last week. You have AAA, which is acknowledge, associate, and then ask. Acknowledge, associate, then ask. Because I could do this. I could say, Carrie, how many beds and how many baths are you looking for? And Carrie will tell me 3 bed, 2 bath. And I'll say, got it. Are you pre-approved? And she'll say yes or no. And then I'll say, are you open to speaking to a lender? Yes. Awesome. Cool. When are you looking to move? Next 6 months. That's cold. But if I say, Carrie, how many beds and baths are you looking for? 3 bed, 2 bath. Awesome. Is it just you, or what are you going to do with the other 2 beds? Throw in a little something personal. So acknowledge, oh, I totally understand. You're looking in this area. I love that area. Associate. I love that area because I grew up in that area. Ask, have you been pre-approved yet? All right. It's a bit of a dance. Acknowledge, associate, and then ask. So acknowledge the response that they just gave you. Awesome. Yeah, I totally get that. Associate. I feel the same way. Or, oh, I love that area. Or, oh, I love it. A big backyard. And then ask your question. Okay. Otherwise, it just sounds like you might as well be a telelender or a tele real estate agent. Just interrogating. It's very cold. So the AAA, acknowledge, associate, and then ask. Okay, so you can go through your interrogation quickly, but what we're hearing here, for example,
Completely renovated. Did you have any preferences as far as bedroom, bath, school district, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it to your assistant. I want the area to be safer, that has a garage for, because there has been house tests where I live in apartment, built for 100 feet for apartment. So I really make sure I buy a car, it's a safer area, and at least it has a garage or something. So that
Something with a garage.
yeah, that's what I like. because that's what's bothering me, around this area. School is not the best. I think I know 21044 zip code has a better school. Um, um, um,
3 bedroom, 2 bath, is that the minimum that you would like?
yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do for you, sir, is I'm gonna set you up on a.
Okay, so he just gave this long-winded explanation. He's had carjackings in the past, which if you guys have ever lived up north, it's a very common thing. I used to live in the Bronx, and boy, things get jacked all the time. So he just went through this long-winded, explanation of what he doesn't want. And remember from last week, guys, if you really want to show someone that you're listening, when it comes to re-explaining what you heard, emphasize the things that they don't want. And notice how she just transitioned to the next question. There was no acknowledgement, like, got it, totally understand, get that. Yeah, I don't want my car jacked too. What do you drive? You need a garage? What do you drive? I'm curious. You guys see how the AAA could have made that conversation a little bit smoother? Okay. Then the ACA is acknowledge, compliment, and then ask. Okay? Acknowledge, compliment, and then ask. Okay? So an example, so are you pre-approved? No, I'm not. I'm not pre-approved yet. My wife and I, we're nervous about the interest rates. We've seen the headlines and things like that, and we just don't know what we can afford. Hey, I totally understand. Acknowledge, compliment. Because you're talking to me now shows that you're serious, and because we're looking in 6 months, like, you're one of my savvier buyers who doesn't wait till the last minute. So with that being said, would you be open to having a conversation with my lender so that we could put a game plan together? You notice how I gave that person a compliment on one of the calls. Was it Alex Hermilo Andres, or was it Dave Michaels? I can't remember. But on the call, he had given I need to count next time, 8 compliments to the person in the most tactful way. Like, he wasn't brown nosing. He wasn't, just like kissing ass, excuse my French here. He was giving compliments and making the other person feel good about the situation.
I think it was both of them did a great job, but Dave calls in particular the person because of the current circumstance was trying to take themselves out of the conversation. And Dave did a great job acknowledging that, complimenting what they've tried to do, and also setting up a game plan, and not allowing themselves to take them out of the position or the opportunity to buy, whether now or 6 months from now to a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Harkadon, you mentioned, the best calls are the ones where there's a bunch of learning moments, and boy, this is a call with a lot of learning moments.
I'll start to send you through right MLS. So that's the main website that all these third-party sites like Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, they're all pulling from this site that I'm going to be sending you to your email. In this portal, you can favorite houses, you can make notes for me, and I can see them. So whenever a property comes up that you're interested in, you can favorite it, and then I'll have that sent to my email on my side if you want me to look into it further for you. And then, have you purchased a home at all ever, or just this will be your first time purchasing?
This will be my first time, and I'm glad you asked that question because I also wanted to take advantage of the programs or seller benefits that I'm looking for help with the closing process one. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Notice how eager this guy is to talk. I mean, even though it's a very cold transaction, cold conversation, notice how he's very eager to understand, right? Like, when you got these guys and you follow all the best practices, I mean, it's just like this person now becomes like a lifelong referral partner.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So because you're a first-time home buyer, did the lender tell you, is it a local lender? I just like to ask that because local lenders do help better with more programs and things like that for first-time home buyers in Maryland.
Not always true.
Okay.
But if you suggest a local lender, or
Sure.
I'm also kind of in the process with a housing program called NACA. They do speak with my bank manager, but that also takes time. You need to know whether it's approved or not. But I'm also checking with FHA.
FHA loan. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah, it's not gonna be available right now because of the shutdown, but
That's also untrue. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Guys, and this doesn't apply to you, Harkadon, because you're up in Canada and your government seems to be running just fine. But ours in the US is allegedly shut down. And I can say with a lot of confidence that VA, FHA is still fully functioning. However, 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 stating cases, actually, you know what? Clay, are you here? I need you real quick. I need your lending expertise. Right now with the government shutdown, everything is still fully functioning. We're still able to do FHA, VA, except I heard on the sales call that special clauses or like stating specific cases is on hold right now.
Yeah, so the biggest thing right now, as far as the government shutdown, is with USDA loans. USDA is the only of the government programs that is essentially fully shut down. We cannot get new loans locked or anything like that. VA and FHA are minimally affected. They're still operating, we're still locking loans and still closing loans. In fact, I just closed a VA loan this morning and got another one closing later this month that's moving right along. Not really seeing any delays with those right now.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I knew. And for you guys who are taking notes and referring back to these notes, one thing that I really want to stress is the agents who close a lot of business are the ones who do not pretend to be a lender. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The agents who are in the top 20% who convert strangers at a high rate do not pretend to be lenders. Okay, so here, and the reason why, and there's a bunch of reasons, but the number one, you don't want to be the reason why someone doesn't get an opportunity or a chance at home ownership because of your ill advice. Now I know none of you guys would do that, but just sharing, if you ever find yourself, teetering toward answering questions that you're not an expert at, just remember, you need to connect with your finance partner. Okay? Let your lender do the disqualification. Let your lender do the clarification. Okay, and how we could have handled that situation, with the government shutdown, I'm not exactly sure what's on hold. However, I'd love to connect with your lender or have a three-way conversation with my lender, and so that we can actually bring some clarity with what's going on with the government shutdown, if that's a concern. Right? Does that make sense, guys?
looking within like the next 3 to 6 months. I'm hoping by that time the government will be up and running again. Who knows?
See, now, if this person doesn't know any better, if he doesn't talk to another real estate agent, if he doesn't talk to another lender, and she's making the suggestion that this, 3 to 6 months out, his financial situation could change in 3 to 6 months, and now he might not be able to get qualified for a loan. Very, very impactful. Be careful what you say. Stay in your lane.
That being said, what I would like to do is put you in touch with my preferred lender, who is
Okay, bonus points.
local in Maryland. She's very well versed in any programs that would be available to you since you are a first-time homebuyer. And then with the seller contribution, which would be the help towards your closing costs, that depends on the house, meaning the property, and if there's a lot of competition on the property. So if we were to write an offer on a house that you're interested in, and there was another offer, and they weren't asking for seller help, then obviously they would probably accept that offer over ours. So it really just depends, like house dependent.
By the way, who's got a lender that you guys love? All right, Carrie, you and I, we both love the same lender.
Yeah.
So guys, instead of going like in this really long-winded explanation of why they need to connect with your lender, here's the easiest thing that you can say. And I want you guys to jot this down. It's the if I would you. If my lender can help reduce your closing costs and get you possibly a better interest rate, giving you a lower monthly payment on your mortgage, would you be open to connecting with my lender? All right. I'm gonna say that again. If I can help lower your closing costs and get you a better interest rate, lowering your monthly mortgage payment, would you be open to connecting with my lender? Because if that person says no, wait, so you're telling me you don't want lower closing costs and you don't want a better interest rate? Now, of course, you're not going to say that, but you have a fiduciary responsibility, and you can tell that person that. All right, we're most certainly over today, but this is a great call.
But we absolutely can try to get that for you. So, that being said, I will get this set up in your email. Did you provide your email to my assistant?
Yeah.
Okay, by the way, guys, you have all of that information in your inbox. 9 times out of 10 before you even hang up the phone. So don't worry about confirming. It's okay to confirm, but it tends to tick people off when you ask them questions that they should already have. Right. One of my favorite questions that I hear people ask is, "What's a good phone number to call you on?"
Oh, I hate that. Oh, that's how I hate that.
And it's like, the one I'm talking to you, bro. What do
The
I
one
do?
that's on your keypad right there that came up when you answered the call.
Exactly. What are we doing here?
I don't know.
Great.
I put it on the portal, but I didn't have to.
Yeah, you probably accurate then. So I will set up the search for you. And
Yes, sir. I see you.
So one thing I want to add regarding the email, you may not ask or confirm, but do check in the CRM if you have access that whatever they provided is valid. Because what happened with me is I was so sure that everything is already there in the system. The email for that person was invalid, right? And after that, and she wanted me to send some listings and all. And then I kept messaging her, but then she ghosted, right? So it sometimes becomes really difficult. It's a good opportunity just to confirm or just look at the system to see if what they have entered is valid.
100%. I'm glad you mentioned that because it's absolutely okay to confirm. What comes across as you're not listening or you don't have a good system is when you ask that question, what's your email? Right? So, Harker, great feedback. You're absolutely right. And how you confirm that, Carrie, how would you confirm an email with me? You already have it.
If I asked you for your email and you gave it to me, I would read it back to you exactly how I wrote it to make sure I got it correctly. And then I would send an email. And then when I sent that email, I kind of confirmed the things that we had already talked about on the phone and hopefully ask for an appointment and get that together so that he can respond to that.
Yep. I love that. Yep. Saying it back to them is 10 times better than, what's your email?
And if you had any time in the next week or two to do a buyer consult with me, so that just kind of goes over, I typically do it through Zoom, or I can meet you in person. Through Zoom, you will just go over all of the steps of how this will look as far as purchasing a home. You don't have to know any of it by heart. It's my job to know that, but it's just to get you familiarized with the process. That way you have an understanding of how this will all look for you. And then before we hang up, do you have any questions about the current market? And then did you have a savings in order to purchase the home?
Not that much. Just a savings, but
Did you notice how she kind of just slipped that in there at the end? I'm gonna slow it down.
For you. And then before we hang up, do you have any questions about the current market? And then did you have a savings in order to purchase the home?
Did you guys pick up on that?
I did.
That's a bit of a diluted question there. Did you have any questions? Do you have any savings?
not that much.
You see his response? He's like, I don't even.
Savings, but I would purchase only 3.5% down payment. That's all.
Okay, great. 35%.
You notice how he's trailing off. He's not. Yeah.
Up and down, up and down.
It does. If I'm this buyer, I don't really feel good from
All right, so I will set everything up in that email to you. I'll also send you an email that introduces myself and my assistant again. And then if you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'm gonna send you all of my information so you have my direct line. Okay? Okay. Do you have
Okay, sure.
any other questions for me right now?
No, thank you.
Okay, great. Well, it's good speaking with you, and I'm looking forward to helping you purchase a home.
Thank you.
That sound like it tanked.
Okay. All right. There's a lot to unpack here, guys. And I want to be clear. We're not here to beat up Liz. Okay. We're here to get better. What is one thing that she did well?
Kept him on the phone, and she got a lot of information out of him. Kudos to her.
Yep. She most certainly got a lot of information out of him. That's absolutely right. Yep. And she kept him on the phone. They were on the phone for a total of 12 minutes, which is pretty long for the first engagement. What else?
I feel it was a double A call and not a triple A call. There's a lot of association about it.
I never thought of it like that, like double A instead of a triple A.
Yeah, I like that too. That was good.
It's good, James.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice. I'm gonna start using that. I'm using 1A or 2As. Use all three. What else? What else did we like? You can most certainly tell that she has confidence in what she does. That for sure she has. Like her tonality, she's confident. She's upbeat. She is,
Well, she clearly has the experience to ask all those questions. Like, even though when she asked the question about savings, I can sort of relate to that because I'm newer and I've learned things about that question. But so I think she's just trying to find out if he's like good, like, does he actually have the money to buy? So I think that her experience is she's asking all the right questions. Like I personally would have asked that question in person in different conversation. But she clearly knows, the questions to ask for sure.
Right. Now, earlier in the call, he stated to her, I'm already pre-approved, but I might need to make up the difference. Right? I'm already pre-approved, but I might need to make up the difference. That was a great opportunity for her to take a step back and say, got it. Got it. That's acknowledging. It's really smart that you're thinking ahead, that you might have to make up the difference. I'm curious, how much of a difference are we talking? You guys see how that, could have come across way smoother instead of, do you have any questions? Do you have any savings?
I think
I mean, it was really like it's laughable. I mean, we laugh, but and of course, hindsight's 2020, guys. I also want to mention that. We look at this through a microscope. Hindsight's 2020. We don't know what, if she was crossing the street, if she was, heading into an appointment. We have no idea what was going on. Okay? Hindsight's always 2020. Jesse has this great joke. He says, how many agents does it take to close a deal? It takes 100. 1 to do it, and 99 to tell you how you could have done it differently. So Liz obviously crushes. She's a multi 7-figure producer. She crushes it, and I imagine that's probably why she kind of felt rushed to ask these questions. However, I'm telling you guys can have these conversations quickly in a way that still humanizes the whole engagement. Right? This is a person on the other end who's trying to get into a house. Andre, go ahead.
I think to tag along what Carrie and what's saying, the flow of the conversation, and same with Leah, the flow of the conversation and the type of questions that were asked, what's more so to test the seriousness of the leads, test her engagement and how serious they are in moving forward. Uh, and in the same capacity, did a great job of building that rapport, asking better questions to understand the overall picture of the current situation with that lead, with that individual. But more so just keeping it on the base level to test the seriousness on how they are to move forward. Because something that she didn't address or acknowledge, as you mentioned earlier, was the HOA concern that he had, the carjacking situation, understanding the bigger picture of what their current situation is and what their desired situation is. I think there was a huge gap there that she could have dived in and get a better clarity to some of the other questions that she asked around. Um, but that gap in understanding what it is going on there, I think is missing there.
Yep.
Yeah, and if she would have connected, Andres, and if she would have connected in those spots, she probably wouldn't have had the downspout at the end.
Yeah.
If she connected earlier.
Do we know where she's at with this lead, or was this very recent?
This was this happened on Monday, so 3 days ago, actually. Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna find out tomorrow where they at.
Well, we'll need a follow-up next week, please.
This is the beauty of this, of doing this type of calls. I try to bring a call that happened within the week so that we can continue to provide updates because I want to listen to the next conversation as well. And that's why I always encourage continued communication on the platform. It allows you from one conversation to the next to see the growth and how you handle those different questionings, different flow on a week to week basis or conversation to conversation.
Yep. All right, guys. We most certainly went over today, and I apologize. I want to recap this, and I want to condense our notes here. So for those who are taking notes, I jotted down the most impactful, the small hinges that swing big doors in this conversation that could have resulted in a different outcome. And maybe does the lead might have some financing troubles. We don't know. We'll find out next week, guys. Stay tuned. But here's the notes. Here's the big takeaways. Number one, ACA, acknowledge, compliment, ask. Okay, it's the easiest way. If you are going to interrogate someone, acknowledge, compliment, ask. It's an easy segue to your next question. Or the AAA, acknowledge, associate, and then ask. Right. The third thing, when on the topic of money, we need to paint a picture, not interrogate. And what I'm not saying is money's not important and we don't need to ask the plain questions. Are we financing? What's our budget? How much are we putting down? I'm not saying we need to dance around those questions. What I'm saying is we need to paint a picture. So you mentioned HOA is a concern of yours. Is it because of the monthly fee, or is it because you're worried about how it affects your purchasing power? Because, by the way, it most certainly does. So painting a picture instead of interrogating on the topic of money. Number four, pretending to be a lender. Okay, and obviously Liz was not pretending to be a lender, but she did throw out some things that otherwise a lender should have been the only person to speak on. Like for example, the government shutdown right now in the U.S. and mark it on you, say no worries. In the U.S., the concern is FHA and VA is no longer available because the government shutdown. That's completely false, and the average person would totally make sense. Yeah, government shut down, VA and FHA is on hold. That makes sense, but it's untrue, right? So we don't want to pretend to be a lender. And the note here for number four is create and set a game plan with your finance partner. Create and set a game plan. Okay. So if I can help you on your closing costs and get you a better interest rate so that you can have a lower monthly mortgage payment, would you be open to speaking with my lender tomorrow at 1 o'clock? And if you have a good lender, you don't even need to schedule an appointment. Because as soon as you get off that phone, you're going to call them and say, hey, I need you to take the money phone tomorrow. The last one, book a meeting from a meeting. Booking a meeting from a meeting. This one principle has made my agents a ton of money. Booking a meeting from a meeting. Notice how there towards the end, she said, I'm going to send you a packet, and you could just hit me up whenever you feel like it. I'm paraphrasing. That is no man's land. That is no man's land. Very rarely, and I mean like 1 out of 20 successful transactions where will someone proactively reach out to you, unless you're leaving an amazing impression. But if you don't want to leave your $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, like in Hartrun's market, got some big checks up there. If you don't want to miss out on that, or take a chance on that, book a meeting from a meeting. And then the last thing, guys, is discovery. I mean, there was very little discovery, and tomorrow we're gonna talk about discovery. It's a really, really critical skill that everyone needs to know. Otherwise, you're just pitching all the time, and you're just trying to persuade, and the close comes in discovery. And by the way, a good discovery prevents you from wasting time. So even for my high D individuals who are like, I just want to get straight to the point, or, Sean, I'm making 6 figures or multiple 6 figures, I don't have time to do all that stuff. If you don't have time to do it right, you don't have time to do it twice. So if you do it right, you can figure out if there's a game plan or not, or if you need to shut down the relationship right then and there. But if you don't go through a proper discovery, pain, doubt, cost, desire, money, support, trust, you are setting yourself up for the deal to blow up in the future and putting yourself at risk of not knowing why. Because if you knew why beforehand, you would have done things to prevent the deal from blowing up. And just speaking on experience as someone who's been doing this for a hot minute. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I apologize for going over. Was this a good call?
Absolutely.
Did you guys gain something from it?
Absolutely, boss. Yes, sir.
Awesome. And Giselle, good to see you. And did you get some value out of this call, Giselle?
Yes, I did. Okay. Yes, I did. I